call to order regular monthly meeting of the Grayson County Board of Supervisors. Thank everyone for your attendance tonight. If we could, I would ask Dr. Thompson if she would lead us in invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Heavenly Father, God, we thank you for this evening and for all of your many blessings, Lord. We thank you for each and every person that's attending the meeting and watching. And Lord, we just pray that you would lead, guide, and direct us in the way you would have us. We ask all these things in the precious holy name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to remind everyone of the decorum, which is on the back of the agenda. And if anyone has any cell phones, if they would at this time, please silence them. Appreciate that very much. And we entertain a motion to adopt and approve the agenda and consent agenda. We do have one item that needs to be added.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to add a VDOT route discussion for secondary 6-year road plan under new business.
Okay.
Second.
All right. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Under public hearing, there appears to be none, which brings us to the next portion, which would be under reports, presentations, or requests. Kelly Wilmore, Superintendent, Grayson County Public Schools.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
We've actually come in and talked to you guys about what we've been working on here about the last year. Instead of just bringing the whole big plans, I want everybody individual sense. The architect doesn't mind doing this because we got to pay for it anyway, so it's always nice of them to do that. Steve. So what we're trying to do, I forget you, Linda, I'm sorry, I apologize. Got the MVP there. This is a set of plans that we came up, we got this last year. We started looking into things that we needed as far as what we've done together, the Board of Supervisors and school system the last 10 years I've been here. We've been able to really start renovating things very well. We renovated our high school. We used COVID money for that. We used COVID money for the middle school. We renovated part of the elementary school. We've done some things in Freeze. We've done all the roofs. That's the main thing we're really proud of. We've got new roofs on all of the older buildings, and you all know that Fairview is 70 years old. Freeze, of course, we did the flat section of Freeze. All the metal section seems to be doing pretty well at Freeze. The Grayson Highlands is great. That metal roof there, we haven't had any problems out of. But then, of course, the high school, we've got shingles on it. So that's about due in the next 2 years. We're going to have to do something with those shingles, which, of course, is much more reasonable than doing another metal roof. But right now, our biggest need is doing something with Independence Elementary. We've got 2 trailers that we're using outside. The trailer to the left, if you're looking at the school, that serves as a library at 3 classrooms. And then the trailer on the right that's in behind the school there, that is a single classroom that actually has a 5th grade in it right now. They're both old. They're both falling apart. Safety-wise, they're not good. I mean, it's just, if you had, God forbid, a gunman or somebody starting shooting, into a metal building, it's not good. I'd much rather have several inches of concrete. So we've looked at, different things to try to add a little more space. It's just so landlocked right there. So the idea is we could take the trailer to the left out, which is going to happen sooner or later anyway, build an extension on there with about 4 classrooms and about 3,000 square feet. And then our cafeteria is too small. And just to give you a history of the cafeteria, when they did that cafeteria, it was just 1 unit, and they were bringing the meals from the high school. That worked about a year, and they stopped doing it. So then what they did was take part of that cafeteria, probably about a 1/4 of it, and turn it into a kitchen. So that's where when you walk in, if you've been in there, you'll see the back area has all been cut out, and that's where our all of our cooking area is, that's where we run the lines through. That's also where our freezers are. So the original plan that you had for a full capacity got cut out after 1 year. And I don't know how long ago that was, long before. It was probably when Steve was in school. So, it's been a while. So since then, we go with a lot more lunches than most elementary. We're running anywhere 4 to 6 lunches each year. Depends on how many kids we have. That's the only school we've had that has been pretty consistent as far as their numbers, and they've actually grown a little bit. So, our space there has always just been tight, but, adding this dimension, adding these 4 classrooms, and then expanding the cafeteria about 1,200 square feet would really help out. So, we're looking, we looked at a grant last year through the state. We're hoping that the folks at Richmond are going to bring this grant back. We can actually apply for whatever amount, about 20 to 30% of this amount. Sometimes they may cut you down to 10%. Well, I don't know what numbers I'm dealing with right now. It hasn't been passed. But if it gets passed like it was last year, you're looking at about $3 million to be able to do this kind of renovation, plus about $1 million to do the cafeterias. You're looking, if you want to do all of it at one time, it's about $4 million. We could apply for up to 30% of that. So you're looking at about $1 million that we could pick up. So we could cut this thing by a fourth if we can get the grant. So, if wanted you guys to know right now, above local required effort, we're not really going to ask for a whole lot this year. We know you guys are strapped. We know your revenue's pretty good. And I know that you guys got a lot of things you still got to take care of. I'm aware. We appreciate what we've been able to do together as far as the communication system. That new communication system is unbelievable. We're able to use walkie-talkies all the way up to Blacksburg if we're got to go somewhere. It is unreal. We've used them over into Allegheny, into Ashe County. So we're able to communicate very well with you guys, the sheriff's office, whatever. And that was money extremely well spent. I don't care what anybody in the community says. That was a very good plan to do that. We appreciate Steve making that happen for us. But, right now, our biggest need moving forward, speaking for me and the school board, and our especially here in town, is trying to do something with Independence Elementary, because it is our biggest need right now. It really is. And any questions you have for me, I'll be glad. I just want to give this to you ahead of time before we start presenting budget. If you can take a look at it. If you have any questions, you can give me a call. And the only request I have from all of you is up there. And I think, Mike, you've been in there because I asked you one day when you came by to go look at it. But if you're in town one day, holler at me. And let me show you what we've got our kids sitting in right now, because our kids deserve better than those 2 trailers. Just be honest.
Yeah, I think I would just, I'll just echo Kelly's request. We've got members, I think it would benefit you to go see the school, spend some time with Kelly, walk around, seeing what the situation is. We are getting ready to hit budget season. And there's a window here for Kelly to apply for this. Let Nikki and I kind of do some staff work to look. We already have, but we've looked at the numbers, what the numbers are going to look like from a loan perspective. And so we're thinking 2 to 250, maybe more, depending on what we get out of that.
Yeah.
So we may have an opportunity. Obviously, Nikki reminded me we got another bill coming up of $500,000 for reassessment. But anyway, so I think during our budget cycle would be a good time to talk about this, and we can have some discussions about priorities.
Does any questions from Mr. Wilmore's presentation while we have him here?
I would like to tour it. If we could set that up,
Yes,
just
ma'am.
contact you, I guess, or Steve.
Just send it on Messenger, Mary. Everybody else does. Everybody else in the county sends it to me. So,
Okay.
yeah, please do. I'll be. And if you've got a few minutes, I'd like to take it down. If you haven't been in a high school or the middle school in several years, I'd like to take it down there and show you that. The annex, all the things we've added there in the last 10 years. We have really nice facilities right now. They're all 70, 50-year-old buildings, but the architect did a great job and they've made them modern. We've got a great school in the western end. Grayson Highlands is amazing. It's really nice. We've kept it in great shape even though it's 14 years old. Freeze has been kept in great shape also. And in Fairview, if you haven't been in Fairview, you know, that's the oldest school we have, but we've renovated it quite a bit. The only thing we're still missing there, we're gonna apply for a grant for some plumbing for Fairview. But high school, middle school, we got the state grant 3 years ago for that. That was 1.2 million. We have all new plumbing in the high school, middle school, and vocational. And I'd love to take you on a tour of vocational school because it is second to none in Southwest Virginia right now. Our new lab down there, our new welding lab, if you haven't seen it, is unreal.
You might not be familiar, but I know you two are, but we spent 300 grand total.
Yeah.
I think EA gave 50 or 50. So, we contributed that to the welding lab, which is pretty nice. Well,
yeah, we had 120,000 in donations from WCC.
Yeah.
It was 300,000, but I think we raised almost every dime of it, which was amazing. So, yeah, but that welding lab is just unreal. It's one of the nicest ones you will see in a high school. Along with our other things we have down there. We've got some great, we Navy ROTC, cosmetology is great. If you want to get your hair cut, we can make that happen too. Or your nails done. We've got a lot of cool things down there. Criminal justice, we really got some cool, really great things that our kids enjoy. And of course, we also take the GALAX kids in. They come to our school for vocational. So we have a few of them. But, I would love to give you a tour if you've got time, not just to look at elementary school, but I'd love to take you on the high school and middle school too. Any questions I can answer?
I have a question about the capacities of each one of the schools.
Mhm.
Is Independence Elementary the only one that's over capacity?
It probably is, yes, because Freeze is such a big school. I mean, we've got 275 in Freeze right now. So it is. Grayson Highlands, of course, they built it. Yeah, I ain't telling you anything y'all don't know. They built it too big. Now we have used that capacity pretty well right now. The community, of course, is using that some too. But yes, that is Independence Elementary is probably the one that, because years ago you had a double A school at one time. You had 800, 900 kids in this high school. And when you first consolidated, of course, we've all dropped off. That's it. This one is the one that has really picked up. It stayed steady, and we picked up a few kids. There's been some housing that's become available inside in this community, and that is why it has grown a little bit there, Sandy, to be honest. Freeze is a humongous school. We'll never get that thing to capacity. I mean, it's just, it was a K-12 school. And then Highlands was built to be a K-12 school. So that's why, it's larger. That's not going to get to capacity either. And we do send everybody from the stoplight west, unless they have a real good reason to be here. Those kids go there, and it's an amazing school. But it was built pretty large, as you know. You've been in there quite a bit.
Just for your reference, in 13, that school was built for about $16 million. Highland School, we're still paying on that. $1.1 million, $1.2 million a year. We pay until 2033. It's a 20-year note. So that's what that looks like for us.
And the Freeze and the Mount Rogers, it came off, didn't it? It's no longer on the books.
We had another, 125, 130,000.
Yeah. Freeze and Mount Rogers were on the books until this past year. And then that one went off. That was the renovations for Freeze and whatever renovations they did at Mount Rogers at that time. But luckily those are paid off. So we've got a little space in here now. Any questions I can answer? And like I said, if you would, get a hold of him. If you don't have my number, message me or get a hold of Steve. He's got it, or let me either one. Or ask any parent in Grayson County. They probably got it if not. I appreciate your time. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Our next presentation is from Scott Wickham, CPA with Robinson Farmer Cox Associates with the FY 2025 audit. Good to have you with us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. See some new faces, so if you go through the report and have questions later on, please feel free to reach out. There's a lot of information in the report. Pretty hot off the press. It's about 160 pages, so it is a lengthy document. I used to flip through and hit some high spots in the full report. My plan tonight is just to go through this handout. It's very thin with some high points, but I'll take questions later if you find them as well. So yeah, this is the fiscal year 2025 audit results. Within the audit report, there are several opinions of reports that we issued. The first is the independent auditor's report. That's the opinion on the financial statements. Again, the county has received an unmodified opinion, which is a clean opinion. That means the numbers are truly correct. So that's the best you can get. That's a good report. The next section in the report is the management discussion and analysis. This is one of the sections that the staff and Nikki has developed for you all. Many parts of a governmental report don't have comparative data. So it's harder to tell exactly how the changes were impacted. That's one good section. That's a little more layman's terms that does have that comparative data. So that's one really good section to read to get a high level summary of the overall year. And then there's a lot of exhibits, including exhibit 1, which is the statement of net position or your balance sheet. That's the full accrual basis of accounting. So think big picture. That includes all of the assets and all of the debt for the overall picture, big picture accounting. And then exhibit 3 is a modified accrual. So it zooms in a little bit and it's short-term basis. So it's your cash on hand plus short-term receivables plus short-term payments. And then exhibit 9 is an important exhibit for the PSA fund to kind of see the impact of the cash activities in that fund during the year. And we also issue a report on gas, which is the report on compliance and state auditing standards. We do have one finding reported this year. I'll go over that in just a little bit of detail later. And then finally, we issued the third report, which is the uniform guidance report, which speaks to the federal testing of the single audits you all have done. Most of that testing this year related to ARPA and using those ARPA funds up in 2025. But that was a good, clean report with no findings noted during testing there. Moving to the next page, reported findings. As I mentioned, we did have one finding this year, which is less than we've had in the previous year, so that's good to reduce those down. The only item noted was material weakness for proposed auditor entries. Those entries are attached to the back of this report, but most of those are accrual-related items, so making sure that payables are recorded or receivables are recorded, some material items, and just making sure the consultants are aware of those items and getting those things in the books. So fairly common item to see in a report for a locality and nothing that I'm really concerned about. But it is material entries were required to post to have the financials correct. We also issue a separate letter that is a management recommendation letter. It is non-material non-compliance and best practice type items. That's also included in the back of this packet for you to review. Just some items to work on that are not dollar-wise significant, but will be best practice improvements. And with that, I'll move to some of the numbers that are presented in the report. This first section is the 5-year trend information for the government-wide. So as I mentioned, this is exhibit 1. This is big picture. This includes all of the assets of the county, plus all of the debt of the county. And if you were a business, the net worth is that net investment towards the bottom net position. It's broken into several sections, including net investment capital assets. That is your vehicles, your buildings, your infrastructure on the ground, less the debt to acquire all those items. So about $17 million for 2025 there in that area. Then you have restricted funds, which are donated funds or grant funds or opioid or other various funds that are restricted, including some bond funds from your E91 tower project that was not spent at the end of the year. And then unrestricted is what you had available to you. So about just under $9 million available there on the full accrual. So you see in the big picture, about 8% growth per year over that 5-year trend and a current ratio of over 5. So big picture wise, that's very strong. It's looking pretty good there. Moving to the general fund on a 5-year trend of the revenues, you can see towards the right, the growth rate over those 5 years. You'll see property taxes have grown about 2.3% per year over those 5 years. Intergovernmental revenues, which are state and federal funds, have grown about 7% per year during that period. Now that is heavily weighted in 2024 and 2025 as you all use the ARPA funds that you have received. So I do expect that number to decline. There is still grant money out there, but it is on the way down. So I want to caution you that a lot of budgets in other areas have been kind of kept alive, kept afloat with those funds. I want to make sure that you're considering that as you move forward and make sure we're working towards having balanced budgets and things like that as well. But overall, total revenue has grown just under 6% per year during those 5 years. Moving to the next page, we have the expenditures. Same accounting method, but this is the expenditure side. Total operating expenditures have grown at just under 6% per year. And then towards the bottom, we have total expenditures growing about 8.5% per year. That's heavily weighted with the capital projects. So a lot of the broadband costs are in there. So I do want you to see that that does increase that amount, but it is something to watch with the expenditures outpacing the revenues. So watch that as it goes. I think a lot of it is heavily drawn because of the capital projects, but something certainly to monitor as we move forward. You will see that the principal on the debt service has kind of fluctuated a little bit. That was due to timing of payments based on school budgets, but overall it kind of flattens out over that time period, but it did fluctuate a couple times in the year there. The next page is charts showing revenues by category. As expected, about 44% of the total revenues of the general fund were property taxes. About 35% were state and federal grants. Pretty comparable to the prior year. Moving over to the next one, we also have expenditures and a pie chart to see the various functions and the percentage of the funds there as well.
What's an example of some of the stuff that's under miscellaneous?
In
Briefly.
revenues,
Mhm.
for 2025, your largest amount there is your trying to think of the name foundation, but Wellspring.
Wellspring.
That's the largest amount was the
And
Wellspring
that goes
hurricane
under this
donations in
one, okay.
2025. So
Thank
there you go, and donations there. So that was the large change. Yeah. Moving over to the county reserves. There's a calculation here towards the bottom, which is unassigned fund balance. So truly what you have available at the end of 2025. And GFOA is a national organization that has a minimum assigned fund balance recommendation of 2 months or 16.67%. So you can see you are just below that this year, having declined from 21% in 2021. Some background, 10 years ago or so, you were also below that on the local side. So there was a climb, and now we're starting to see the climb go back down, partially because of the capital projects you all have been doing. So again, want to make sure you're aware of it. I don't have concerns. I think that this is a function of expenditures. So we want you to make sure you're looking at that. Also, a lot of school boards have had to come for more money in other areas. You'll see that the increase, the transfer to the school board from the county has not grown at a substantial amount, less than 2% per year over those 5 years. So something to consider as you move forward, that there could be a need there as well. But I'm not concerned, but it could be looking at trying to build that up a little bit more as you move forward. Moving over to debt balances. This debt in this calculation includes all of your accounting debt as well. So this is more than just your bonded debt. Your bonded debt is your general obligation and your lease revenue bonds and those finance purchases. But the other items there are accounting calculations. So sick leave, your OPEB, your pension liabilities, things that are required in accounting standards, but you don't have a repayment schedule essentially. But I include them here so that you have all the debt, and also the debt per capita from the state does include those as well. So kind of compare apples to apples. Across the bottom, the 2025 state average is not available yet, but based on 2024, that was 4,113. You all are well below that amount. So that's a good place to be. As I mentioned, you're in the big picture, you're in a really strong position. Your current ratio is over 5. This is kind of where that's coming from. You have very low debt for your county. So that is what's driving some of that really big picture, good financial situation. There is a large increase in that other long-term obligations, particularly for the school board. That is implementation of GASB 101 for accrued compensated absences, which impacted the calculation of accrued leave. Now, no impact to your daily operations, but the change does require us to account for an estimate of time off. So in prior standards, leave was recorded as a liability based on what someone would get when they retired or when they were terminated. Now it's based on what they will get for those payments as well, but in addition, what people use. And so for school boards, it was a big impact because a lot of teachers don't get to take that sick leave with them. but they do take that sick leave off. So that did have a big impact for you all at the school board and across the state essentially as well. But again, very low debt amounts there compared to other localities in the state. The next slide here is the retirement plan. For those that are new here, this is not anything the county has done wrong. You all implemented GASB 68 quite a few years ago now, and it requires you to report these amounts. You report them at the middle discount rate, 6.75%. It is an estimate calculated by an actuary hired by the state. So you can see how significant the difference is based on if they do better with your investments or worse with your investments. I highlight this because it is a large amount, and it is a big estimate that the actuaries provide to us. So I want to point that out. It's nothing that the county has done wrong, the school board's done wrong. You all pay what you're asked to pay. It's a function of them not doing as well with the investments as they thought they were over various years, or people staying longer or shorter, or there's a lot of variables in that come up with this liability. For many years, the state used it as a budgeting tool where the actuary said it should be 14%, but they couldn't fund that, so they said make it 11%. And so y'all paid 11%, everybody did across the state, but it should have been 14% to fully fund it. So that's kind of how this arrived. And so it is reported there, and it is pretty common, particularly for school boards to have a large amount there. So I want to point that out, that big estimate, required calculation, but nothing you all have done wrong. As I mentioned, you all implemented GASB 101 for compensated absences this year. There was some impact for the county, but there was a larger impact for the schools. There are 2 upcoming standards going forward that will be in play for FY26, including the GASB 103 financial reporting model. When this model was discussed, it was going to be groundbreaking, completely changing the report, a lot of changes to various types of the report. There was consideration to making a cash basis report, to making the full thing an accrual base, and taking out the different types of calculations. In the end, they argued, then COVID hit, and now it's a much smaller change. Now it does have some impacts. So some of the more dramatic impacts you'll see in your budget to actual exhibits, they will now require a variance column from your beginning budget to your ending budget. And you'll now be required to highlight what some of the more significant changes were in your report. So if you have a massive budget adoption, a budget increase, that it will show up in the report instead of just being a number in there. So one of the big changes, there's some changes for MD&A requirements, and I can get those to you for what those are. But possibly some verbiage changes and some difference in operating versus non-operating in the PSA type of fund. But there are some changes, not nearly as significant as initially thought there would be, but there are some changes. But GASB 104, disclosure of capital assets, I don't expect to have big impact. It could change the disclosures a little bit, particularly for your lease assets and subscription assets, but nothing super significant there as well. So kind of overall, the audit process, everybody was great to work with. We start the overall audit with sending a secure link to the portal, kind of a working list for the staff at the various offices. A lot of the people sent very timely documentation to us, so that was great to get. We work on that remotely in our office and then with it on site with a more narrowed scope, and everyone was great to have everything ready when we were here. So the process starts in the spring, and we just wrapped up a month or 2 ago, and appreciate everybody helping us with that. So the process went really well. Only one finding, the list of the recommendations is getting shorter. So I think it's a good process from there. Make sure you're watching the budget. But otherwise, I think it was a pretty good audit. If there are any questions?
How often does that GASB 103 variance report? Is that just annual?
As far as it'll be part of the audit, it'll be part of the audit report. So the changes in the budget.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like you have several exhibits in the report that they currently have original budget and final budget and actual information, and then you have a variance column at the end that compares your final budget versus your actual to kind of see what the difference was. You're gonna have another column that will be what the original budget was, what the final budget was, and then what the change of those is. So
okay,
we kind of
gotcha.
identify that. and maybe have some more disclosure on what the more significant items are.
And that just started last year.
That will be in this 26th report.
Okay.
Do you have a definition for significant?
You know, I need to look, I think that might be a policy you all create.
Need to adopt,
Might
okay.
be. It might be something to look into.
Any other questions for Scott? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Appreciate our work. Nikki, Steve, appreciate it. Okay, our next presentation is Ashlyn Shrewsbury, Executive Director, Mount Rogers Regional Partnership. She's gonna give us up.
So let me see if I can get it turned on the right side. Mr. Chair and fellow board members, thank you for allowing me to be here tonight to give a short presentation. For those who don't know me, I'm Ashlyn Shrewsbury, and I'm the Executive Director for Mount Rogers Regional Partnership. We're the regional economic development organization that represents the counties of With, Smith, Bland, Carroll, Grayson, and the city of Galax. Having technical difficulties. Okay, so a couple things I'm going to go over. I'll give a little background on our organization for you all, as well as the Blue Ridge Crossroads Economic Development Authority, which Grayson is a member locality of. I'll talk about some the projects that we worked on in the last fiscal year, and then some of the activities and projects that we have worked on so far in this fiscal year. So at Mount Rogers Regional Partnership, our mission is to support the creation of job opportunities, broaden the tax base, and improve the standard of living for the residents in the region. And we do this through attracting and encouraging businesses to locate and invest here, and also assisting with our existing companies to create and retain the jobs. So we are a small, mighty staff. We all wear a lot of hats. We have 3.5 staff members. I serve as the executive director, so I focus on regional economic development planning, lead generation, prospect management, and I also oversee the Blue Ridge Crossroads Economic Development Authority and Pathway Regional Industrial Facilities Authority. Our deputy director does business retention and expansion. She also does our investor relations and our talent solutions. Then we have a director of marketing and communications and a part-time office administrator. So our areas of focus are to grow, retain, and attract jobs and add new capital investment, promote and communicate our regional assets, align our workforce development efforts with those of the business needs. So we work really well with our K-12 system and our community colleges, making sure that we can connect those with our local industry needs, provide leadership and economic development strategy, and identify and initiate efforts to improve the business climate. So just a little bit of background on prospects. So our leads typically come from our state organization, which is the Virginia Economic Development Partnership. They filter down to us at the regional organization. And from there, we work with our local economic developers. And then we also work with our local governments, our county administrators, and our city manager to share those. We also work with lead generation companies and consultants on leads as well. So as I mentioned, I also serve as the executive director for the Blue Ridge Crossroads Economic Development Authority. We are a regional industrial facility that is made up of partner localities for Carroll, Grayson, and the city of Galax. We're the owners of Wildwood Commerce Park off exit 19 on I-77. So I help manage all the RFIs and prospect opportunities for Wildwood, oversee the grant and project management and site development for Reseda and Wildwood. I also provide administration for the continued function of those organizations in the park. We are the host organization for the Blue Ridge Crossroads Small Business Development Center, and I also serve as the local zone administrator for the enterprise zone in Carroll, Grayson, and the city of Galax. So for fiscal year 2025, some exciting announcement that we were able to be a part of, Plucked, which is the 65-acre greenhouse out at Wildwood Commerce Park. It is a low-carbon greenhouse that we utilize local sawmills for energy. They announced 118 new jobs and almost $105 million in investment. We also helped with the expansion of Dutchess Dairy in Wythe County and the expansion of Hitachi Energy in both Bland and Smith County. So just some by the numbers for last fiscal year, we helped with the creation of 238 new jobs, 128 million in capital investment. We generated 40 leads and contacts, visited 75 businesses throughout the region, and responded to 20 requests for information. Our Talent Solutions program highlights. So our organization oversees the Connect program in 5 out of our 6 localities. We also lead the Twin County Manufacturing and Healthcare Excellence programs. So in last fiscal year, we connected 293 high school students through our Connect and Excellence programs. 35 businesses were visited through the Connect program, and 506 adults and students were served at both the Crossroads and with planned career fairs. And one of our success stories, after the Twin County Manufacturing Excellence Program in 2025, one of the graduates who was able to go through the program, which is where they get to go out to some of the local industries in the manufacturing sector or healthcare respectively, they get to see what it would be like to work in these industries and in these businesses. And we hope that once they graduate, then they want to stick around and find jobs here. So we work really hard on our talent retention. We actually had a student that went through the 2025 class that had toured Mohawk as part of that program. And after he graduated, he went back and applied for a job there and was able to get that. And he said if it hadn't been for the Manufacturing Excellence Program, he wouldn't have even known anything really about that industry and that business or have been able to get a job there. So we consider that a big success, and we hope to continue to see stories like that. So for marketing and communications last fiscal year, we did 2 new videos, one focused on talent retention, one focused on talent attraction. We had 7 press releases, 24 news stories, and our ad campaign in area development generated more than 30,000 views. A couple of special projects I wanted to mention through the help of, of a Tobacco Region grant as well as a Go Virginia grant. We did a regional site study. So after the industrial parks and the sites and buildings that we have and are currently marketing are gone, we don't have anything in the pipeline. And it does take a long time in order to get sites from purchase to being pad ready for businesses. And a lot of times they don't want to have to wait, a long time to be able to locate on them. So we want to make sure that we're starting to identify where the next industrial development should take place. So through these grants and the study, we worked with Timmons Group out of Richmond. They came in and did a dive of all of our available parcels throughout the region in all 6 localities. They worked with a stakeholder group and were able to get it narrowed down to a top 10 list of sites that are primed for the next phase of industrial development. And we work with our county administrators and our city manager to see if there are any opportunities for purchasing those properties in the future, whether it be with the individual localities or in a more regional effort similar to Wildwood Commerce Park or Pathway Park. And then a couple other projects I wanted to touch on. We also did Site 1 due diligence and design services at Wildwood Commerce Park, a alternate access analysis study at Pathway Park, and a targeted ROI study and target industry study for Pathway Park. So our organization manages lead generation activities. I think we're one slide ahead. So a couple from last year that we did, there was an ag tech call trip through Virginia Economic Development Partnership that we did. We also went on a logistics lead generation event with the state, which was TPM 25, and then Select USA in Maryland, which focuses on attracting foreign and direct investment. We also supported familiarization tours with members from our state organizations so that they are familiar with our region and our assets. So when they learn about projects, they know what we have to offer and if they would be good projects for our region. So moving forward to our current fiscal year, we have already developed a new site video to be able to promote the available sites we have in the region. This focused on Wildwood Commerce Park, Pathway Park, and Progress Park, as well as a couple other existing buildings here in the area. And that was made possible due to a tobacco grant we had for marketing and lead generation last year. We also applied for a new marketing and lead generation grant through the Tobacco Commission titled Reaching New Foreign and Direct Markets. With that, we've been able to get our region as a whole certified as an FDI qualified community. We worked with a company out of Europe that focuses on helping European companies that are looking to relocate or expand into the U.S. market and connecting them with their members that are local economic development organizations or regional economic development organizations here in the U.S. And so they did a desktop analysis of our region and all of our assets. They also came and worked with some consultants and did a tour here in
our region. We also had them look at 2 of our industrial parks that had properties for market at the time. And so through all of that, we were able to get both the region and Pathway and Progress Parks certified as FDI qualified communities and FDI qualified parks. Some community events and advocacy events that we've been able to participate in so far this year were the Celebrate Tourism Summit, the Southwest Virginia Alliance for Manufacturing Expo, and the Business Success Symposium. We also, our organization led a delegation of local leadership last week to Richmond in order to meet with some of the local representatives so that they could discuss legislative priorities for the current General Assembly session. And then just some other projects I wanted to talk about that we're working on. We continue to work on lead generation and marketing through the help of our tobacco grant. We are continuing to help existing industries in their retention and expansion efforts, prospect management on Site 1 at Wildwood Commerce Park, which is the only site we actually have left out there that hasn't already been sold and being built on. The alternate access project for Pathway Park, enterprise zone amendments for the Twin County region, boundary and incentives, and continuing to cultivate our investor relations. So one of our new projects for this fiscal year was to try and work on bringing in new private investment into our organization so that we could continue to grow both the organization and the programs that we support. And so we've moved to a tier model for that. And so far we've actually been able to almost double the number of private investors into our organization. So that's something we're excited about. And I just wanted to point out that we do receive support and funding from a mix of both public and private entities, as well as grant agencies. We are very heavily publicly funded, and so I just wanted to thank you all for your continued support and let you know that if you ever need anything, please feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to answer any questions you all may have at this time. It's also a lot of information, so my contact information is at the end of the presentation, so if you think of anything later, please feel free to reach out as well. Thank you.
Any questions?
So look, I'll say, there's a ton of information for you, and we've got 3 folks that this is their second meeting. So,
Yeah.
And want Ashlyn to come just to give you some type of general sense of regional economic development, what that looks like. Now, what we can talk at length about what a site needs to look like to be a ready site, what we're doing at Wildwood, what's, what partnerships look like, but there's a lot going on. We just don't have a chance at economic development without partnering in some sort of way, and that's how we do it from a regional perspective. And so they do a really good job. They work really hard. They have very few people, and so we're lucky to have this group serve our community. That's what I'll say. So that's it. We can talk about it later though. But thanks, Ashley.
Thank you. Let's see.
Thanks, you too.
Okay, and appears that we don't have any registered speakers. We'll check to see if we have anybody with the public comment portion of the agenda.
Okay.
Looks like the first person we have signed up is Kenneth Nestor. And if you will, when you come up, just state your name and address, and we'll give you 3 minutes. We can't comment back to you, but we're more than happy to listen to you.
All right, appreciate you hearing me. My name's Kenneth Nestor, 2002 Bethany Road, Independence. Reason I'm here today is, I guess a lot of y'all's aware of the laws in Richmond as far as gun control, things like that. So really what I see is unconstitutional laws. And I noticed this county has had a Second Amendment sanctuary for quite a time now. And I'm asking to update our standings and where we still stand as a county on the sanctuary, because I know it's been a good while and we do have some new board members on hand. And I spoke with Gary Hash. He was hoping to be here, but said he couldn't make it. But he did assure me he is 100% behind the movement and protecting our 2A sanctuary. So I'd ask if y'all would please consider that, and I think it'd be a good thing to update it. I think the platform we done got probably serves well, just maybe need to update it and, you know, so we still stand there. If there's any questions or anything I can help you with, be happy to. Besides that, I know we had a tremendous turnout the first time when we first come out with the sanctuary. And I didn't feel like there's no need to try to pack the auditorium again and having people standing outside. So I want to thank y'all for your time listening, and I hope you'll consider doing that. Any questions or anything, I done spoke with a couple of you. Reach out. I'll help any way possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here. Okay, looks like our next speaker is Douglas Cox.
Good evening. My name is Douglas Cox, 864 High Point Lane, Independence, Virginia. First off, I'd like to thank all you, the new board members, for being willing to serve. And I think you've got some challenges in front of you over the next few years. I want to reinforce what Mr. Nestor said with in the background. I spent 25 years on active duty military, so I can come back here and afford my farming addiction and take over my family farm. My father did the same thing. He fought the dam. Now we're trying to fight for our way of life. Everything we do in the county right now, whether it be our faith, whether it be our culture, whether it be our way we do agriculture, all of it is under siege. The Constitution is under attack. And what I'm asking the board to do and asking for assistance from the board is, how is we as a county can we be proactive? How do we shape the environment in our county, whether it be knowing what the adjacent counties are doing with 2A amendments so we know we can protect our citizens, so they know if they go back and forth, they don't have to worry. Right now, my sons who are both active duty military can't come home and carry a weapon because the reciprocity just went away. And an example of proactive, I want to compliment Mr. Nestor. He got Mr. Tim Anderson from Virginia Beach, an acquaintance of mine, that is coming to teach the Utah concealed carry class, which will protect our citizens when they travel to other states when the reciprocity goes away. It'll also protect people that come into the county because Virginia will recognize it. But we are under some real challenges. Our citizens are going to be in jeopardy for practicing their way of life and the traditions that we trust. And we all know that in Grayson County, we don't have a ton of law enforcement to cover a great deal of area. So no one should be punished for protecting their family, and nor should that all be enforced. So I'd encourage everybody to think about what we can do both as a county and the board, communicate to people in the county, to reach out and say, we've got a lot of capable people, and reach out and see what they can do to assist or come up with ideas on those things. But I just believe if we don't get proactive, we're going to be reacting to everything, and it's not going to be pretty. I don't want us being subservient to Fairfax and Loudoun. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. Yeah, it's time for you. Okay, I'm sorry if I get this wrong. Joan Boldick, is it right?
That's fine.
I'm sorry.
Nobody can pronounce it. I'm here. I've been coordinating the
If you will state your name and address for us.
My name is Joan Bolduc. My address is 5954 Big Ridge Road, Elk Creek, Virginia.
Okay.
And I am here on behalf of the one-on-one literacy program we serve with in Grayson counties in the city of Galax. We have been in Grayson County since 1987. And illiteracy is still a problem, not just here, it's a problem all around the country. And some of that reason is because some people have learning disabilities. It's not their fault, but what we do is we provide free trained tutors to anybody within Grayson County. We mainly serve adults, and so we work with the schools, we work with Head Starts, public libraries. We do child literacy programs for the youth and for young children to get them enjoying reading and so, and I just want to thank you all for your support in the past and would appreciate your support now and in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being with us. Okay, appears to be no old business on the agenda. Next will be under new business would be a resolution, declaration of emergency due to winter storm.
Yeah, just to explain this to new board members, anytime we have some type of major weather event, we have to declare emergency at a certain time frame in case there's costs that occur that can be reimbursed to the locality. And so we go ahead and declare, and then at the time of the next meeting, we have to sign a resolution. So that's what this is all about. So when we had the latest storm, we went ahead and declared an emergency in case there was overtime costs for the sheriff's office, EMS, trash costs, things like that, that we can get reimbursed from. I don't know that we had any at this point. Have we identified any? But we went and declared it. We're asking that we go ahead with this resolution at this time in case something pops up. Usually we follow the state's action, or sometimes we try to get in front of the state on these things. Make sense? Questions?
Thank you.
Since everyone's had this in the packet, could we waive the reading? Or you?
So, yeah,
For one
you need a motion for that?
Yeah, we'll need a motion to adopt the resolution.
Okay. I move that we adopt the resolution declaring Grayson County, the emergency declaration in Grayson County. Sorry about that.
Second.
This will be a roll call vote. Mr. Watson? Okay.
Aye.
Okay. Also, Ashlyn.
Okay, second is number 4 in your packet. It's a memorandum of understanding between Grayson County Sheriff's Office Department and the Washington County Sheriff's Department. Anytime we have we have a new sheriff now, and we have to update our MOUs. And so if you go to it's just basically a MOU that allows the two counties to interact with one another when conducting law enforcement operations. So if you go to the last page, there's a signature line between the sheriffs and the chairs. And if you have any questions, I guess Gary's not here. I don't have any concerns. This is a pretty standard process, pretty standard protocol for law enforcement operations between counties. So that would be it.
These agreements been in use for years.
In place since Jesus walked the earth. So
Yeah. And say you have a deputy in the White Top area, he's needing assistance, they can call upon Washington County, cross the line, come into their area. Basically what that is. Okay, if there's
Do you need a motion to adopt that, or?
I think, yeah, we'll need to vote on it. So we'll need a motion to adopt the mutual agreement between Washington County and Grayson County.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Just a question.
Okay.
This is also for Carroll County, but in a different.
What?
Where each county has to do it separately, but with
Yeah.
Carroll County, Wythe County, Smith County.
And a lot of the agreements right now, I talked to Sheriff Hash. Richard's term isn't completed yet, so a lot of these agreements were through the remainder of his. So he will be coming forward with those with Carroll and
Surrounding counties.
surrounding counties. Yeah,
Okay,
and it's common practice that we've done
just
for
want,
years.
just
So we'll
clarify,
have more.
Yeah, a little bit more to approve.
just to clarify. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Chair also aye.
okay, number 5 on your packet is a solid waste large item schedule, which it feels like we just finished that, but You know, we'll start posting, Lynn will start posting on our Facebook, page, which we'll put it on our website. And do we put flyers out on this, Linda, or?
Put it out in the paper,
Okay.
both consent and the declaration.
Okay. It is a tremendous lift for our, public works folks. But we do a really good job of getting trash out of this county. So I appreciate it very much. This includes town freeze. Any questions on this?
Is this already on the Facebook page?
Not
It'll be
yet.
after.
Okay, this is information item.
Information on
Yeah.
it. Linda, anything else done with that right now? Okay.
Okay.
Okay, number 6, we have to go over some, the board appointments. We've just got a couple left. One of the questions you asked last time, which frankly I didn't know, was what is the Mount Rogers Planning District Rural Technical Committee? It was formed in 2006, which guides regional transportation planning efforts, supported by funding from the Rural Transportation Program. The committee provides technical expertise in local jurisdictions regarding transportation infrastructure and development in the Mount Rogers area. If you remember that, we talked about that last time. So we do have, Linda, you want to cover this? You want me to? Okay. So we still have a couple of things. The PSA deputy director, we now have a director in place. So the PSA deputy director is probably going to be me. Is that right? I'm assuming you'll want to point me to that. Twain County Regional Airport, we did have someone interested in applying for that board. Her application is in the back. Her name is Miss Rita Key.
She's in the Fairview area.
And we still have 2 other, we do have this Mount Rogers Planning District Commission Transportation Rural Technical Committee. Is Amber Schuler still, so she is still wanting to serve another term, and Tracy Anderson term expires. So same thing with MRPDC, which is the Mount Rogers Planning District at large. That's Tracy Anderson is on that as well. Full commission. Apologies. So those are your ones.
Okay. This first one, Mr. Anderson's was a primary representative for the Mount Rogers Planning District Commission Transportation. So that's a board member. Is there anyone?
Does it have people?
I don't think that one does, but.
It was just because he was affiliated with Mount Rogers and familiar.
Well, this is for transportation. I think what he was.
So I don't have to.
What's that? I'm sorry.
This had to do with transportation. I mean, he's affiliated with Mount Rogers through the middle. So, anyone interested in that?
I'm not. If we don't, is there any? We've never been to it either yet.
How often do they meet?
I don't even know. I didn't know there was.
It sounds like something we probably want to have a foot in the door on because, I mean, for road projects, I mean, they're scarce enough already. And getting any funding for, especially 6-year road, I mean, our funding is kind of scarce anyway, so. Would you be willing to do that? Okay. So, I'm gonna go ahead.
You don't know the, you don't know the cadence on that? Okay.
I don't.
Can I get a, I'm just doing one at a time since we only have so few. Okay, do I have a motion?
I move that Paul serves on the Mount Rogers Planning District Commission Transportation Rural Technical Committee.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair also aye. Okay, Amber Schuler, she's willing to serve again. Chair, entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Chair also aye. Okay, Mount Rogers Planning District Commission, at-large member, full commission,
One time a year.
one time a year.
Most of the lifting done from the staff on this.
Are any volunteers?
I'll do everything.
Okay. Hearing no one else being interested, do I have a motion?
I move for Sandy to be the Mount Rogers Planning District Commission representative,
Okay,
at-large member.
okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair will say aye. Congratulations. All right, Deputy Director need appointment, and Mr. Boyer has indicated that he will be willing to do that. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair will say aye. Twin County Regional Airport, Rita Key. This is what we've been begging for is a county resident. We've got this commission now, and whatever our future may hold, I think it is important. We do have somebody there.
Do you all have any idea how much investment we have in the Twin County Airport?
Of course, yeah. When you're asking, let me make sure I understand your question correctly.
How much money we got tied up in it? That's what I'm asking.
I got it. So there's a requirement and then there's a request.
Okay.
So that's why I'm trying to define your question just a little bit.
Okay, how much is required?
About 19.8. We're committed to 19.8 every year. Now, in the past, they've asked for as much as about 65 include a total of 65, which would include the day-to-day operational costs. We funded that in the past, but the last 2 years, we've not funded that operational cost of that. We've only funded what we are required to. So right now, I'm on that board right now. In the past, it's always been a citizen or a board member. I think one of the discussions we need to have, we'll have in budget section is, do you want to fund the airport at the request or at the requirement?
So are you good with continuing or?
But most,
We've got ears inside the wall, so that,
GALAX has a board member, a council member, and a citizen on.
Miss Key, is it just one position for us on that board or two?
Two.
Okay.
Why are we required?
Yeah, we signed a,
Was that when it was built?
it's a debt service for, was it for the runway or for the runway expansion? Good question.
Before our
For,
it's probably the 70s, right? Something like that.
no, I think it was,
The creation of the
Well,
airport.
they used to have.
The original. Yeah, well, I'm thinking it's been there since the late 70s.
Yeah.
The airport itself.
So is this a lifetime? Does this run out and we have to,
until our debt is paid.
till our debt is paid?
Yeah. The three of us, GALAX, Carroll, and Grayson, have owed this debt service to the airport. Well, I don't know the year. Do you remember the year it runs out? Okay. I think it's another 10 years, but I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember. I'll have to get it for
We didn't have it before the first budget.
the budget session. We'll have it in the budget session for sure.
Chair would entertain a motion for the adding of a citizen representative.
I'll make that motion, Ms. Key had a good application.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, hearing none, All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair also aye. Okay. Next, VDOT discussion.
Okay, in your packet, VDOT since, where's my, oh, it's in there. VDOT sent us a request for a 6-year plan. I got it.
Yeah.
So each year VDOT, this is a standard, each year VDOT comes to us and says, what roads do you want to pave, basically? And we use this term, it's a 6-year plan. And so we're planning out 6 years out, basically. And so if you look at this top chart, these are the routes that are currently on the list to be funded in the future. And each year, well, we don't know exactly. It went down when I first got here. We got about close to $1 million in road funding. Now last year was 454,000. And our expectation is next year will be about the same, 454,000. So VDOT comes to us and says, what roads do you want to put on the 6-year plan? Make sense? And so we go to the board and we have developed a list. And if you look at this bottom list, so what he said from us, from this year's allocation, we need to complete funding for Chestnut Grove Road, which I believe is currently at $243,000 short of being fully funded. So we already have Chestnut Grove, part of it on there, and obviously we would probably want to finish the rest of that. And so roughly what we have left on this bottom sheet for the next, this is an out-year plan. If you want to fund another $200,000 to $220,000 worth of roads, you would decide which of those roads do you want to fund next. You could pick, part of Mount Olive. You could pick Chestnut Lane, Walnut Lane. You could combine a couple like Maple Ridge and Fraser Road, Turnip Lane. So you want to pick somewhere around the neighborhood of around $250,000. Does that make sense?
On that bottom list is Mount Olivet. Is that the Baywood Mount Olivet or?
It says from 624 to 625.
I think that's
That's the
Okay, that's what I assumed, but
Chestnut Lane would be, that's in Providence, Walnut, I think that's in Providence there to Rue, maybe. Maple Ridge is, at the, intersection of, Scenic and, Riverside Drive. Fraser Road is just outside the city of Galax. Turnip Lane is off of, it's down Old Town. That's out past Higgins' farm. Greenville Road, that's Old Town. Little Fox Creek, Wilson District. Hickory Lane is Old Town District. That's out off of Old Fairview Road.
We get a lot of complaints on this.
Crestview, Sugar Shacks. That would be, I guess that's Old Town too. Lost Lake, it's up in Flat Ridge. We was told that a few years ago they tried to, cut down, and then all the people that here at the meeting that last time said, yeah, you're on the list. And so, it don't look like we'll be adding anybody. If we're keeping the 6-year plan realistic, it don't look like we'd be adding any roads to this list for a while. I mean, if we're staying realistic.
well, yeah. This is, their process is, board decides, the county, the locality decides, they advertise, they have to advertise, they have to push out, they do a bunch of review, and it's year to year, but they plan 6 years out,
Yeah.
And this is county money that's going into the road, or is this just request? Okay.
for
The state's making a decision to,
And it is to hard top those roads, right?
Yeah.
Or to replace the hard top, or just to,
Some of them aren't.
These are all, these are dirt roads.
well, Chestnut Grove is up what way paved,
Mhm.
hard top, and then it's a horse trail.
yeah, so you're not talking, you're talking 2031 is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
The roads you select today are 2031.
Cause
32, I'm sorry.
I'm still getting calls on, People Lane, cause they've done a lot of the ditching work, but they've not, it's been funded and it says here under construction, but I got a call actually this about an hour before this meeting about it, so
On which road?
on Beagle Lane, which is on the very top of the list, which I'd imagine it's gonna be done sometime this summer.
Hollow and Cold Springs.
Yeah. This Schwartz guy, is he the new guy in Bristol? In Whitful resident, okay. I had a citizen, I might direct some emails to him that had some quick questions on
I'd
it.
start with Mark Williams, be your most responsive, and then Schwartz would be after that.
Okay. To gain the status of rustic rural, or rural rustic, whichever, if there's certain width requirements for it. And because they'd said, they've done expanded the road so far, but then when it got to a bad curve, which was really a bad issue, then, they'd stop. So I didn't know if that was more work they would be doing this year or what. Okay. So this is just something we need to be thinking on or looking.
Well, he's looking for an answer before his March meeting, which is the day before our next board meeting. So if the board's ready to make a decision, we can make a decision tonight. If it's not, I would recommend we make a decision. The board goes home and reviews it, thinks about it, and we make a decision at our next budget meeting.
Okay.
At the budget meeting? I think that sounds good.
It's on the 5th, right?
That's correct.
Everybody good with that? Let you scratch
Yeah,
on
I'd
a
like to
little
drive down some of them.
bit? Okay. All right.
Is there any that we need to drive down have the staff drive on, or?
I get, really most of those in the bottom.
Okay.
There's the problem with some of these roads in my district is that we've been told in the past that the equipment cannot fit. Now, all of it, Crestview, several of them.
Okay.
Greenville, I was actually surprised to see that it was that much of an estimate.
321,000.
Yeah. Because I need to drive down it because I'm not sure I'm thinking of the same
That's going down toward
hair knuckles curve and
if you're going down toward Dr. Danley's
Dr.
farm.
Danley's.
Yeah. So there's some pretty iffy banks going down there.
I had a 91 and a 90-something-year-old call me about that road specifically.
Okay.
We'll try to get there too.
Okay. All right, so everybody, be reviewing this and be ready for March 5th. Okay, looks like that brings us to county administrator's report.
Okay, got a few things to hand out to you here. I will give you some feedback from Richmond. We always go to Richmond for General Assembly, Legislative Day. Just trying to glean some information about what bills are going forward, what's going to pass, what versions are going to pass. As you know, everything goes into committee. It's back and forth from the House to the Senate. So I'll mention a couple, 4 or 5 things, and if you want to talk about them more, we can. The first one would be labor employment. Looks like there's advancing legislation to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. It certainly will affect our part-time work. There's also a pretty good bill establishing paid family and medical leave program. And the one that would probably give us the most pause would be if they repealed the right to work laws, which would create a union process within our government locality, at least. So with the school and with the localities. Second Amendment has been mentioned tonight. There's a bill that's working its way through right now. They're trying to pass to ban assault weapons. I don't know the definition of assault weapons in this world, and restrict magazines that will hold over 10 rounds. So something that we should probably be aware of. In regards to marijuana, the House has passed legislation to protect the rights of parents who use marijuana, and their discussions continue on the timeline for legal recreational sales. I would expect this to pass this year. And so we currently in the county don't have an ordinance prohibiting any type of business regarding recreational marijuana use. But if this passes and if you're concerned, I'd recommend the Board of Supervisors make a recommendation to the Planning Commission to look into the issue. If you're not concerned, okay. There's various proposals going on for law enforcement and sentence reduction that are moving through committees. And then the last thing I would say, if you remember from our, we had a budget briefing in December, in the forecast, the expected general revenue funds revenues are still 3% above the official forecast. So state budget financially looks really sound. So that gives you a sense of what's going on right now. Any questions on that? Okay. There is, as Linda reminded me, their burning ban goes into effect this weekend. Virginia's annual 4 p.m. burning law is making a return on this Sunday. It is in effect from February 15th through April 30th. Prohibits outdoor burning between midnight and 4 p.m. within 300 feet of the woods or dry grass. This includes debris burning, campfires, open air charcoal grills, and I said the burn ban does not apply to charcoal or gas-fired barbecue grills. Any questions? Linda, we posting this? Okay, all right, good. Tower construction. Construction on Quillen's Ridge has begun. Construction on the VDOT roads for White Top should be done by the end of February. Of course, we had a little weather that delayed us, but we should be done about 7 weeks with White Top and Quillen's Ridge. Walnut Knob is taking a little bit longer than we thought. We got delayed for a few reasons because of there's some slope issues, and so we're having to reslope the road, and so we're a few weeks behind on Walnut Knob. But we're probably about 8 months out from having 3 towers up on the western end of the county, which would be really good. Just submitted a tourism grant application in the amount of $1.5 million. That includes improvements to all our community centers and our recreation park. I have a copy here if anybody wants to take a look at that grant. We should know by June on that $1.5 million. Keep your fingers crossed. Big money. Jada came in and talked to Nikki and I today. She put in for another grant of $200,000 to finish our trail system. As you know, we've got a trail system now from the town all the way out to the park and should connect to the falls. So if we get that grant, we'll get another $200,000 to do that. This is the cigarette tax board. There's no decision to make on this tonight, but I'm going to give you this since I'm on this board now. Okay.
Is any tax on that marijuana they're selling?
They will.
Needs to be outlawed.
Okay, Mitch was on the cigarette tax board now, myself and Nikki are. So what happens is localities tax the cigarettes. And so when they're sold, they put an additional tax on that, and that goes to the locality. We are a member of this board, but we have never implemented this tax. And so certainly if you talk to business owners, they would be opposed to this. But you can see, as you can see, there's some quite a bit of revenue in some localities that are generated from this. If you look at, say, let's see, the average, if you look at, say, the average, someone like us, if you look at Rural Retreat or Saltville, you see they get anywhere from maybe $6,000 to $7,000 a month from cigarette sales. You couldn't compare us to like a Pulaski who's getting $40,000 a month. You'd have to look at a locality that's doesn't have an interstate running through it. You could, kind of compare the number of stores that sell cigarettes, the amount of cigarettes. But what we need to do, not tonight, I just want to give you some familiarity with this, that I'm going to start attending this meeting, or I missed one already, didn't I? Where was I? I was somewhere else, right? I missed
You've only got a few.
Yeah, really. But anyway, I'll be going to this board, and they'll be asking, hey, what are my board's thoughts on implementing the cigarette tax? And so I'll need your decision on if you want to do anything, if you want to stand pat, and if you want my input, I'll give you my input on it at some point in time. Any questions on that right now?
Just one, this is just cigarette tax, or is this all tobacco products?
I think it's just cigarette tax, right? Just cigarette.
Just cigarettes, not smokeless tobacco or cigars or loose leaf pipe tobacco, just cigarettes.
Cigarettes. They get a stamp on it. I think they put some type of
Like a
stamp.
little
Stamp on them.
the
Then
outside
the
cellophane.
retailers buy the stamp from the county.
Have you ever seen the H.G. Hackney? You know who that is? Okay, it's a company that basically stamps these products for stores. So they.
Stamp too.
Okay.
No action. Just I know you've got three new members. I just want to get you familiar with some of the things that are going on, some of the decisions we'll have to make. Okay? And you don't have to make a decision at all on this. You can say, we don't want to do anything. Okay. No problem.
So this chart at the bottom is an average of all those localities except for Abingdon. Is that, yeah, okay.
Somebody's getting taxed, right?
Oh, yeah, all these localities. If you look at all these
Grayson
localities.
County needs them just as much as anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah,
I would think. I mean,
that's your decision, not mine. Whatever you decide, we can talk about the pros and cons. You certainly, I would recommend talking to the local businesses about it as well.
But the local business pays the tax and passes it on to the consumer. Is that the way I understand it?
That would be correct.
Okay. Based on the amount of tobacco products that they're selling.
That's right.
Right.
So Carol does not.
Carroll does not, Galax does not.
Do we have any way of knowing what our cigarette sales are? No, there's no reporting on them. Just curious. Give a kind of estimate.
I don't know.
No way to know.
No way to know, but it's just a cigarette tax. I mean, if we're gonna tax cigarettes, then we need to cover all the tobacco products, all vape products. It's just, to me, it's a snowball.
Budget calendar. As you know, we are, Friday's our deadline, right? Friday's our deadline to receive budgets from all our departments. And so we are aggressively trying to fill in the blanks for what our budget season looks like. And, our job is really to provide you as much decision space as possible to make decisions with the budget that we have and make, solid recommendations on the budget. 3.5 is our first budget work session, goals and objectives, revenue. And so just want to make sure you've got that on your calendar, 3.5 at 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
Right? Everybody good with that? Does anybody need a copy of the budget calendar to take with them so they can post on their refrigerator, on their tractor?
Wouldn't hurt.
It's already there. It's already there.
On their truck that they got 300,000 miles on.
so this is March.
March 5th, yeah. At 3 o'clock.
March Okay, the Virginia, as you know, Virginia 250s this year, the Mobile Museum is coming to Grayson. It's gonna be at our low level parking lot. It arrives April 27th at 11 a.m., departs April 30th at 1 p.m. We have our ribbon cutting ceremony on April 27th at noon, and they certainly have asked board members to come if at all possible. I have the flyer. We finally got the flyer, so I'll give you this to take home, put it on your refrigerator, and be ready to come and support Virginia 250. This will be good for kids. And then let's copy it. Okay, what else? Don't miss anything, Linda? Oh, Parks and Rec. Okay, we are actively planning for 4th of July. Parks and Rec. So our Parks and Rec department has raised in private donations somewhere around $15,000 or $20,000 already for the 4th of July celebration. Of course, they have a committee, and the committee came to me, and last year, you know, they have bands. Last year they had bands. They had a food truck. This year, as you can see on the flyer already, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 food trucks already. You know, there's 4 or 5 bands now. 1, 2, 3, 4. It was like 5 bands, and so it starts at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and hopefully goes till 8 or 10 at night at the park. And so they're just trying to increase this event. We'll be certainly advertising it with Shannon and making sure they're also, I'm pretty sure we're gonna have fireworks at the park this year. One of the questions that they had was, they are interested in, they're interested in talking to the board or seeing how the board feels about having a beer garden at the park. So right now, last couple of years that they've had it, people come in, they can bring coolers, and there are no open container. You can't have an open container. What they would like, their argument is, they would like to not allow people to have coolers, have better control of that, but partner with either like a creek bottom or or get a 1-day license, which a county can do, towns can do, cities can do, and have a truck there. So if people want to purchase beer, they can do that. And they asked me to talk to the board about that. So that's what I'm here to do tonight, see what your thoughts are. Talk to the attorneys. It's a very common thing for towns, cities, counties when they're sponsoring these events to do that. But if the board is not inclined to want to do that, then I will tell them it's not an option for them.
Do we have any other events that do that currently?
The only one that happens is when the town does their 4th of July, they partner with Creek Bottom, and they bring a food truck and a beer truck here in town. The county does not have a sponsored event like that.
Will this have deputies, sheriff presence?
I would assume.
If there's gonna be alcohol.
Well, last year they were there.
They were?
Yeah.
So is this more of adult or kids?
Both.
Both.
Yeah. Last year they had a watermelon contest. They had relay races. They had a bunch of stuff for kids as well.
How does the park feel about the coolers versus the selling it?
I think their argument is they would rather limit the amount of alcohol that comes in the park by not allowing coolers there.
That would be the only way to limit.
Yeah. They would, look, they can't police everything, but they're trying to limit the amount of alcohol in the park is what they're trying to do. They want to grow this And, you know, there's a segment of our, certainly a segment of the citizens that would like to have a beer through the 4th of July. And so they want to offer that, but they just want to have a little more control of the situation, I guess is what they're arguing.
There's like an admissions gate where they would say, I'm sorry, you can't bring that cooler in here. There's gonna be some.
You know how it is going up to where the playground is and picnic tables, that's where they would do it right
Gotcha.
there. Yeah. People have to park, you know, up and down the road, and then as they would come in, they would allow coolers in right there.
It's a pleasure, anyone to make a motion
I don't know if I need
or just a consent?
I just need a consensus. If your consensus is I'd rather not do that, then we'll work something else out. If there's a consensus that makes sense, then I'll tell them to go forward. Or if you want Steve to make the decision, then I'll make the decision on that.
I'd rather not have the open coolers.
I'd rather not have no alcohol.
Okay?
That's my opinion.
Mr. Cunningham? Any?
Is your argument then, if we can't do it without policing it entirely, then you wouldn't want to have the event?
I don't like alcohol, period.
Sure.
I mean, I don't like it.
Yeah, no,
It ain't nothing but trouble. It ain't nothing but misery for
Yeah.
families.
Yeah. Sure.
I just don't like it. But you got 4 more if they want it, that's fine. You know, I don't
Give
really.
everybody the opportunity to, since we're just doing a consensus.
I'm more in favor of the more regulated beer truck than I would be the coolers, as Dr. Tomlinson says. You know, if people's gonna come in and have a beer and they have to pay $5 or $10, they're not gonna drink as many as they can pick a 6-pack up the store on the way in, or a 12-pack or a case for the same amount of money. Kind of limited by the cost limitations.
I would agree.
Mr. Richardson?
So this question's not if they can't have it, they can't have it, bring it in on their own, or the beer truck, either or, right?
Well, what we're gonna do is, we're just gonna try to do as good a job as possible of policing coolers is what we're gonna try to do. If somebody's bringing a water bottle, I don't know if we get after everything. Or if they have a Stanley or whatever they have, I don't know that we would be that strict, but we would try to limit excess. If they wanna bring food, they can bring food. We're trying to bring drinks in, is what we're trying to get away from. Besides water, of course.
Well, I mean, obviously, I think it needs to be controlled more, I guess.
And maybe some signage,
Of course,
like big signage.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, because, be more apt to get out of hand with the coolers. The truck will be more controlled if you're not asking, if alcohol can be there at all. It obviously already can.
Yeah.
It's just, I think that would be a more controlled environment.
I feel better about it that the town's already basically done something.
Yeah. I'll have to sign, the county administrator will have to sign off on it. But we'll work through that. I'm sorry.
Will we have to pay, I guess the deputies that are there would be,
The trash.
Well, I'm like Ms. Watson, I'd rather no alcohol at all. If you're gonna do it though, in a controlled manner with the beer truck, but my preference would be not with the children and everything that's there with the youth program. But I'm one person.
I understand the concerns,
yeah,
too, but it's the 4th of July and everybody's gonna be, well, I'm not saying everybody, but some people will drink to excess whether you limit the amount that they can have or not.
I worry that people are gonna go to their vehicles.
Keep going back and forth with it, or bring the cooler with them, and when they walk one, they open it up, pull the cup, and set that down on the cooler. Whereas they have to walk over and, like I say, pay for it out of pocket, like you do at a basketball, football game, you know, at college. Some of them places charge $10 or $15 for a bottle of beer.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna buy too many. And Trump would alleviate that, reaching in the cooler and just drink all you want to drink.
All right,
Okay.
you got everybody's opinion. Let's see.
Is that it? I think it's all right.
Any new news on the Bristol casino situation we could share?
Sure, so I should have mentioned that in the legislative. Haven't seen any legislation that would, going forward now, that would give me concern or pause that we're gonna lose that funding this year. Next year, we'll just have to wait and see. It's gonna be a year-to-year thing. But revenues are good at the casino. So we're gonna still get a pretty good chunk. We will have to decide how we're gonna spend that money, just so that the board knows. We have to fill out a form. It'll be due in May, and the boards, during our budget sessions, we have to pick. You can only spend that money on a couple of things. You can spend it on the school, you can spend it on fire and EMS, and sheriff's office. I think those are the only places you can designate that money. So we have to designate where we're going to spend that money, and then after the fiscal year, we have to report back exactly where we spent that money.
Can we divide it between those three, or does we have to take the lump sum and put it in one?
I can't remember, Linda. Can we put that in two spots or not? We've always done it in EMS, I believe. Yeah. Yeah. I'll have to check. Good question. Let me check. I think we can, but I'm not 100% on that. I'll check.
By our budget meeting, we could probably project probably what that amount potentially could be.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So that's it.
That's it, sir.
Thank you, sir. Okay, no one's asked for board of supervisors time. We have no closed session, so entertain that motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair also aye. Thanks, everybody.